Hello, everyone, and it is February, and this is Auto Asphyxiation. This is Lark.
And Kimberly.
That's right. And as we talked about last week, we had just had a bunch of snow. We had a snowstorm, and I think something that's interesting is that it was last week, and we're still suffering from the snow right now
We're
this
st-
week.
we're still stuck in the snow a week later.
I mean, it is wild. I mean, I feel like we don't like if it's over 3 inches of snow, like New Jersey, New York can't function. Okay, I'll put it this way. Uh the business district or financial district on Wall Street can function. But the
Yeah,
rest of us is like go to hell. We don't care what
yeah,
happens to you.
pretty much, pretty much. And this is not an unheard of amount of snow. Like this wasn't like a crazy blizzard or like a whiteout conditions or anything like that. Like this was a normal, what used to be normal amount of snow for this area.
Yeah, and like I think okay, this one thing I read about was in 2010. Apparently, they had a Boxing Day blizzard, and it dumped 36 inches of snow in like Bricktown, New Jersey. And then like I guess like a few months later, it had 29 inches of snow in South Jersey, and then like a few days after that, it was like 20 inches of snow, and then in Texas, it was 28 inches of snow. I'm just like, okay, what
That's a
the
lot of snow.
what the and when would we have like 6 to 10 inches like
Yeah.
last weekend?
Yeah, in our area, about 6 to 10 inches. A couple places got like about a foot, but yeah, like 6 to 10 inches.
Now, just in case you guys don't realize this, and I bring it up a lot, my husband is from Wisconsin, and he doesn't view this as real weather. He's like, this is not real snow. Why are things closed down? I don't understand. We used to go to school in this. Um, but for New Jersey, this is a lot, especially with the climate crisis. And we are just like, and we talked about this in December. We talked about how the climate crisis has taken away winter for us. And it's really made things very challenging. And the reason why we're kind of bringing this up is that I didn't really think we were going to have a show on this episode. But you know, I'm I'm shocked I'm shocked at how hard it is to get around.
I'm shocked, and I'm from New Jersey, and I've seen how like past like snowstorms, like this is like we had one significant snowstorm. It's not like past winters where we had snowstorm upon snowstorm, like two or three, and I remember having two or three in a week. Like back in the 90s, but back in the long, long ago. But
The late 1900s.
the late night. Ow. But this is like it's not unheard of. Like New Jersey gets snow, and like my car is still stuck in the garage. Like I can't get it out of my driveway still.
I mean, I think it's wild. I mean, the amount of snow, like Chaz, the husband unit, it was kind of crazy. He's like, he's sweating. He's like doing his like I think a snow pump thing. I'm not sure what it's called, like some kind of device that removes snow. He's
Oh, I
on
think that's what my landlord has.
Yeah, he's on YouTube figuring out how to fix it because apparently since 2016 they haven't had to use it. And it was his dad's in Wisconsin when they had snow, and apparently he's got to go on YouTube and fix it. Anyway, the whole point of it is this: it is like this small amount of snow that is that. I mean, really, it's not that much snow. Okay, it's not for people places that snow. This is not a lot of snow, and for a week later, for it to be a situation, and let me explain the situation for you folks who might be from Los Angeles or Australia. Um, Essentially, how it works is the roads with the cars get cleared first. Then the sidewalks to the heavy rail that go to Manhattan get cleared.
Yep.
Then the light rail gets cleared. Then the commercial districts in the upper middle class, predominantly white areas get cleared. Like I went to brunch in Montclair, and that was clear. But as you walk through working class New Jersey, which I'm gonna tell you something, most of New Jersey is working class.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it's cross cultural. Like it's not like oh just the black people. It's everybody. Like the white people, the Latinos, the black. We're all working class. If we were fancy, we'd be in Manhattan. And no one wants to have this conversation. It's like oh. Just because you're working class doesn't mean that you're lame. It's like you could be cool. I'm
I
cool.
I'm cool. I think
Exactly.
I prefer working class people personally.
Exactly. And so what I'm saying is that when you are in New York metro area, if you're working class, if you're not going to Manhattan, you're going to be stuck. Essentially, on my way, I work at a community college in Newark, and I almost failed because apparently, because I take the light rail when it snows. I take the light rail, and I was walking and apparently I don't need to walk on the sidewalk because no one cleared it, and it was like icy, and I almost fell. I had on, well, as you know, I like to put on the fancy clothes, and I do like wearing heels, and almost fell because apparently there's ice and they didn't clear it, and I almost, so anyway, we call it another one bites the dust. I don't know. Anyway, it was just kind of nuts. And what was your experience, Kimberly, in the snow?
My experience has been that like the sidewalks in my neighborhood really aren't cleared off. Like they're done the best to their ability. My road still is like one lane. Like, I mean, it technically is one lane anyway, but like you used to be able to fit two cars down it. Now it's not possible because there's just so much snow still on the roadway. One area, like not like if I go down my block, somebody hasn't shoveled at all. And I feel like that's probably somebody that's not able to shovel, like I don't think that somebody would just be like, nah, fuck this. Like I'm not doing this. Like I feel like it's probably somebody who's elderly or disabled, who can't get out and shovel properly, who could probably barely shovel their walkway. But yeah, it's been, like I have a little dog. It's been rough taking him outside, not just because of the cold, because of the snow just piled everywhere. He can't find anywhere to go to the bathroom.
Just so you folks know, in working class world, especially in North Jersey or places like that, North Jersey, like if you whether it is like South Montclair, whether it's Newark, whether it's East Orange, whether it's Bloomfield, a lot of the people who own these homes are elderly, 70.
Yeah.
That is elderly. I know a lot of 70-year-olds like, I'm not old. Okay, I'm not saying that. But there are a lot of people in their 80s. They're 90s. I mean, when you got a good union job, you can live a long time. And these, it's hard for them to shovel. So, like, this is not like this whole, like, oh, the city's not doing their job, the blah, blah, blah. Because we understand that most of the cities and towns in North Jersey are fake towns and cities or neighborhood councils that are masquerading as cities so they can be racist. So it's like we know that you can't do essentially a small city that's actually a neighborhood can't do the administrative task in order to clear snow because Essex is a city. So essentially, Essex County should be doing this. Because I know
Yeah.
a lot of people would be doing this show and be like, "Oh, Bloomfield sucks, Montclair sucks, Glen Ridge, they all suck because they can't individually figure out how to clear the streets." We're not even saying that because we know that's just too easy. But this is about the fact that we're not doing regional planning. We are not planning for the climate crisis. The climate crisis is going to demand that North Jersey plans as a unit. It's going to demand that Essex views itself as a city. Because who is paying for this? If you are working in Manhattan, essentially you can get there right now because the roads, the county roads to the heavy rails are clear. But if you are a nurse, if you are a caretaker, if you are a teacher, if you work inside New Jersey, if you're disabled and you want to just get some freaking food, you can't do it right now. And
Yeah.
this is a week later. A week
It,
later is across. Go ahead. I'm so sorry.
I came across a Reddit thread of different bus stops across northern New Jersey, and like all the bus stops are still covered in a sheet of ice. Because if it's the responsibility of the person who owns the sidewalk that the bus stop happens to be on, whatever business or whatnot, like instead of it being like New Jersey Transit or the city to be responsible for it. So, business owners or like homeowners aren't really like concerned about clearing out to make sure that a bus stop is safe for people. Like they're more concerned with getting their cars out and getting like sidewalks clear so that people can transverse and get into their businesses. But the bus stops right now are absolutely atrocious across northern New Jersey.
And this means caretakers. This means nurses. This means child care workers. This means people who are primary caregivers who rely on the bus because you go on the buses in North Jersey, they are filled.
Yep.
If you go on the bus on Monday at 2 o'clock in New Jersey, the buses are filled. You would think that New Jersey, no one rides the bus. Lots of people ride the bus.
Yeah, you just don't talk to any people who actually ride the bus, but a lot of people ride the bus across northern New Jersey and they rely on
Exactly.
it for public transportation. Like,
Exactly. You're like, you just don't talk to them. I was shocked when one time something happened to my car and I had to take the bus. And I was shocked how crowded it was. And I was shocked how infrequent it runs. I mean, the thing is that I happened to catch the bus at just the right time. I think it's so amazing how the system works. If I, you know, I've been married into the middle class. And it's so shocking how it works if you're middle class, how shit just seems to work out. I'm just like, wow, it's weird. Like my car broke down and the bus is just here. And
yeah,
then it's like, I didn't have to wait. It's so, and this is why I'm very hesitant of going, because I'll tell you something. For me, public transit here worked really well, but I'm very hesitant to say it on a larger scale because it doesn't work well for so many people who don't have the ability to live by the light rail, live by the heavy rail. It doesn't work. It's full. It's crowded. It's ridiculous. And I think this is the whole thing. They're just. I'm not sure. The climate crisis has actually made snow a problem for people
yes.
who are disabled. Think about if you're disabled right now and you're just trying to get to the store, the grocery store.
Yeah, it's even some of the shops and things like that, like the snow cleanup has been less than sufficient.
I mean, and it's like they're concerned because here's the thing. A lot of North Jersey is the how can I say this in a polite way? They're the handmaids to Manhattan. So the only thing they care about is can people get to Manhattan? That's
Yeah.
it. If can you get to Manhattan? Because that's all they care about. So essentially, like pedestrians, people who are not going to Manhattan, they are not viewed as priority. They are deprioritized. They are essentially, and because it hasn't snowed in so long, it's like I feel like they've gotten rid of people who take care of the snow. Like essentially, like the snowplow people. Do they are they? Do I mean? I feel like they've gotten rid of people because it's been like literally 10 years
I
since it
think it
really snowed.
I I think it depends on the township and the city. Like I know my stepdad was the head of the DPW in Blairstown where I grew up, and everybody there, everybody who was on staff was expected to know how to drive a snowplow. so that they could be called upon it in winter. So, but that's a relatively small town. I don't know if counties work it the same way, if they have a separate division, like, these people do like landscaping, these people do snow plows. I don't know how it works like on a larger scale. I only know my small experience.
Well, here's, I think it's very interesting is that, your where you lived was like 5% of rural New Jersey. And they kind of like really understood, okay, anything can happen here. Anything can happen. When you're in a rural area, you're very prepared for anything can happen. This is why I think when I went to Wisconsin for the first time, I went to the Midwest, and I used to wonder, why do people have big trucks? Why do people have SUVs? Why do you need? I'm from Los Angeles, of course, and I'm like, I never needed an SUV. And when I had to drive my little Fiat from Los Angeles to the cross country, I was like, oh, I can see why somebody might need a big car in the snow. I also could see why somebody might need a gun. I was like, oh, this is weird. You're just out here in the middle of nowhere. There's like nothing. There's
Yeah.
nothing. They're like wild animals. Okay. I can understand the whole gun concept. Um, and I totally in Los Angeles, I was just like, I didn't even realize that was a thing. I didn't realize that was a way of life. So I guess anyway, my
It's so
point.
funny because there's places like that in California that I've visited regularly. Like around Joshua Tree is very rural and is very like SUV pickup truck gun kind of guy because there's wild animals and there's no snow, but there's sand dunes like that you have to get across.
This is true, Kimberly, but keep in mind, Kimberly, in Joshua Tree, people are making a choice.
They no, they absolutely are.
they're,
They
they're,
absolutely are.
they're, they're making
I
a
love Joshua Tree, but like no, you're making a choice to live in Joshua Tree.
I love Joshua Tree too. I've been there, but you're making a choice. You're going, you know what? I screw people. I want to live out. I want to be like, Walden. I want to do, on the pond. But I want
It's
to do it.
not like that anymore.
Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it's true.
It's not like that anymore. It got all built up and it's full of Airbnbs and like all sorts of people coming out there to do like pilgrimages in the desert.
Well, yeah, we're the cult. California is the cult capital. Well, I was saying when in rural New Jersey, this is not like, oh, okay, I'm just trying to discover myself and find myself through like psychedelics. It's people like regular people. Like your dad's a regular dude. He's not
Yeah.
like dropping shrooms and like having orgies. I don't think.
I think I might be better for him if he did at least drop the shrooms. No offense, but yeah,
Yeah,
Dad.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like normal people. It's not like in California when you go to the desert and you're just kind of like you meet Hunter S. Thompson, which that actually happened to me. I'm not going to get into it, but when I was 19, I did meet Hunter S. Thompson in the
That's
desert.
very cool. That's very cool.
Yeah, but it's very LA story. Anyway, my whole point is this: we now have this whole idea that like, oh, the snow is weird, and we just, let's just contract that out. So we lose institutional knowledge, like how to like you said, like in where you are in where you were raised in rural New Jersey. There's institutional knowledge. It's like, okay, we've got to keep this institutional knowledge. We've got to remember how to use a snowplow. We have to remember this. Where in
Yeah.
North Jersey is kind of like, we'll just hire a guy. If we have enough money, we could just hire somebody to do something. I'll let you know something. I have an over 100-year-old house. No matter how much money I offer people, like, can you fix electricity, like electrical, like, put it this way, when we wash our clothes, we have to wash it and then take out the plug and then put it in the plug for the dryer and then dry it. We can't wash and dry at the same time because
It's
essentially the house
it's too much for the house.
it's too much for the house, and we literally can't even pay someone to fix it because there's no institutional knowledge. So it's like, I even if I were like, here's $10,000, please fix this, I can't even take because I don't know how to do it. And this is the whole thing. People just think, oh, we just pay enough money, it doesn't. We don't have to have people on staff who know how to do this because we could just pay money and people will be able to do. No, no, it doesn't.
No.
That's not how this works.
No, because the old things still exist, and like just like like snow still exists in New Jersey. It's still going to happen. So just because we don't get big, huge storms every single year, several times like we used to, doesn't mean that we're not going to get hit every once in a while and need to clean up efficiently. Like it was even when we were going around on Saturday to the grocery store, like, like the traffic was so backed up because most side streets are still only passable by one car. And there's just huge piles of snow everywhere. I know that they did a big cleanup across Essex County this weekend. So, like, hopefully getting around tomorrow will be a little bit easier for people. But, they haven't made sure that any of the curb cutouts are shoveled. Ramps are still covered in snow. It's doing a disservice to a lot of people who rely on public transportation or simply are just pedestrians.
Well, yeah, we went to the Patterson Falls and it was frozen. It was really beautiful. But as we were going up the road, it was like, we had to pull over. We couldn't pull over because it was snow everywhere. And it's like there's nowhere to dump the snow. So even if you're like, oh, well, why did people dig out? Well, where are they going to put the snow? And I think the thing is really interesting is that when you make in New Jersey, it's so small, it's so dense, it's so crowded, especially North Jersey, and we're still prioritizing the car. If we prioritize pedestrians and public transit, I mean, think of this is one thing too. I'm so thankful when I have to go to work. I just walk 5 minutes to the light rail and I get on the train and go to my job. I don't have to drive in my car. I don't have to do all this stuff. And think about what life would be like if we had a robust public transit system. We prioritized pedestrians. We prioritized intra-transit transportation and deprioritized the car because when the roads were having a problem, the first thing Essex County did, because Bloomfield Avenue is a county road, they made sure that Bloomfield Avenue was fine. But, it'd be different if Bloomfield Avenue had a light rail or something like that. It doesn't have a light rail and doesn't have but the thing is that it was so interesting. They made sure that you could drive of it, but they still didn't clear off the bus stops. They were still like people were standing in the street waiting for the bus
Oh my God.
on
Yeah,
Bloomfield Avenue. It was kind of I was like, why
that's
are you
scary.
I know I was like, why are you doing this? And I think that it's like, we have this whole idea that that pedestrian infrastructure is some kind of weird luxury, and it's not a luxury. Like, who is walking in New Jersey? Who's walking? Like, essentially, I have to say this: who's walking? Who's taking public transit? Who's taking the bus within New Jersey? Essentially, is everyone,
Yes.
everyone but white men. Well, white middle class men. So
Yeah.
essentially, other than white middle class men, everybody. And this is true because even in areas like Glen Ridge and Montclair, when you have like suburban mom, so many times that primary caregiver, who's typically a woman, doesn't have access to a car because for some reason, which I am still confused about, her husband takes a car and then parks it at the heavy rail station, and she doesn't have access to a car. I have so many friends that's the case. And I'm like, why can't you just drop
But
him off until you can have the car? Well, you know what? I'm not even going to get into that.
yeah, that's a little, yeah. That's a waste. Like that's really a waste of a car. That's you're wasting money.
Not only is a waste, but I think it's a way to control make sure like the reason why you work in Manhattan and you have your wife in the suburbs is so she can't do anything, and you no way to make sure that she can't do anything by taking the car and then parking it, making sure she has no access to the car
Yep.
because you had to drive to the train station to get to Manhattan, making sure your wife stays nice and secure in the house. Anyway, that's a different conversation. But I noticed that you know there are no pedestrian paths, but of course there. I noticed that in Montclair, if you want to go to brunch or buy cosmetics because I have to get my Kiehl's, um, you could walk there.
Of course.
There was a path cleared for you for
Of
there,
course.
but you couldn't use the bus stop.
Meanwhile, the kids like on my block that have to go to school are walking in the middle of the street because like the sidewalks are still like some are shoveled, some are not.
And then also too, another thing I thought about is too is that you were like talking about how the fact is like your street is not essentially people haven't dug out the snow or cleared the snow. I'm using weird terms because I'm from California. I don't know how you guys talk about it, but
You're saying it right.
yeah, you didn't clear the snow, you didn't plow the snow. So essentially, this also traps people in their houses. Like if you don't have the right shoe, you don't have like I know something about like some of my students. Some of my students do not have the correct clothing for the snow because it hasn't really snowed in 10 years, and a lot of them are 18 years old. So if it hasn't snowed in 10 years, the last time you snowed it, you were 18 years old or 8 years old, you might not have any proper clothes. So my students were in class, in my like econ class, and I was like, I didn't want to say anything because I'm like, how can I judge you? I'm from California, but I'm like, shouldn't you have a coat? Why don't you have a coat? Why don't you have shoes? Why don't you? So, and I know some of my students were not showing up to class because they literally didn't have clothes. So essentially, for people who are working class, people who are working class, people who are working poor, when you don't clear the snow, when you don't clear the sidewalk, you're essentially doing a soft curfew.
And no, you absolutely are. You absolutely are. Like it's a way to control working class people and to limit women.
It is because it's like, oh, okay, so it is, and it's very bizarre. I mean, and I don't know if you guys folks know this who are not from cold areas, but winter clothes are expensive. So the thing is that if you know it's going to snow or whatever on a regular basis, and you buy a good pair of boots, a good pair of a good coat, good pair of boots could run like $200 or more. A good jacket could run you two, 300, 400, $500. So this is not something that people could just do. You can't just go, oh, it's snow. Let me go buy this jacket.
Yeah.
And if it hasn't snowed in like 10 years, a lot of people don't have jackets. A lot of people don't. So essentially, you're creating a situation where when it snows, when there's an emergency, not even an emergency, it doesn't even snow that much. 6 inches is nothing. What happened was really nothing. It was nothing like 2010. It was
Nope.
nothing like 2016. We had a minimal amount of snow, but you made it so for working class people, I'm sure. And actually, I heard about this. People lost their jobs over this. They lost their jobs. I had a friend that was working at Wawa, and she lost her job
Because
because
she
she
couldn't get in.
because she couldn't get in, and they fired her from her job.
That was that was always the case. Like, I mean, I work in nursing, so like I'm fortunate I work in private duty nursing, so my job is a little bit more if I can't get to work, I can't get to work. But like, like when I worked at a nursing home, they'll send an Uber to come get you. Like
Yeah,
you
so
you you have to come to work. You don't really have a choice. If there's a state of emergency like there was last weekend, then you're mandated usually to stay overnight.
this is something that men who work on Wall Street don't have to do.
Yeah.
And this is the kind of thing, this kind of stuff gets people fired from their job because the buses aren't running, the light rails are running, your boss doesn't care if you can't get there. If you can't get there, they'll get somebody else who wants that job to get your job. You get fired, you lose your job, then you lose your car, then you lose your apartment, then you lose your car, and then you're homeless. Like, I mean, and this is something that happens to working class people all the time. One little hiccup, and this is a hiccup. Like a hiccup for a working class person is a ticket, a parking ticket that didn't pay.
Yep.
And then it turns to a warrant. Then it turns to you got stopped, you got arrested. A hiccup for a working class person is, you're some kind of weird, somebody gets into your bank account and steals your money. And so you have to wait 2 weeks. Because,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, you essentially lose your house, lose your car, look, whatever. So this
That
kind of,
hiccup can destroy you.
it can destroy you. It can ruin your life. Literally, any slight mistake that in middle class world is just like, ha, no big deal. We can take care of this. We'll work this out. In working class world, when little hiccups happen, people lives get ruined. People die behind this kind of stuff. I think about my friend. She's in her late 40s, and she lost her job at Wawa's, and I'm just like, you know, I don't know what to say because this, I every up its way. It's weird. Sometimes you go on social media and you're waiting for somebody to go like, oh, this person's dead, and that's what I'm like. I have so many friends that have died over economic oppression, especially in Generation X, especially women. Lots of women in Generation X who have died over economic oppression, and you know this is something that we need to like start prior the I blame this on auto asphyxiation. I blame it on the Weltanschauung that the car is a priority. I think about if we prioritize the bus, we prioritize like bike lane, we prioritize pedestrians, we prioritize like, oh, if you could work remotely. um for people, we would have such a different world. We would have such a different, because people they want to go to work, they want to go out, but they literally cannot.
Yeah, people, and more so people need to get out of the house. Like it's, like it's, and I'm not even talking about to get to a job or, to make money or whatnot. Like, but you need to get out of the house. Like everybody's going a little stir crazy right now because everybody's been trapped in their house because it's not only been piles of snow everywhere, but it's also been bitterly cold. So it's been hard to spend any time outside. But like people, for your mental health and your well-being, you need to get out of the house occasionally.
Exactly. And I think this is an important thing. This is, when we have car centric or auto asphyxiation, the name of the show, auto asphyxiation, and we focus on the car and we focus on people driving and we focus only on one a sliver of the demographic of human beings, because the fact that we don't care about 90% of the human beings, we only care about a sliver of the human beings is very, very sad. We create a situation where people, like you said, people need to not just go to work. People need to live. People need to have a quality of life. People need to have recreation. People need to be able to go outside. People need to be comfortable, and people can't be comfortable because we haven't cleared the snow. Like right now, I'm just like, right there, they're still clearing the snow, right? And I actually got a phone message on my answering machine. I have to say this, actually, my husband's answering machine, because I don't have an answering machine because I'm not in like the 1900s. My husband, he's an older Generation X person. He was born in the 60s.
He's an OG Gen X.
He's OG Gen X. He still has an answering machine. And they were like, make sure that you move your car so that we can like, plow. I'm like, dude, when did this snowstorm happen? Like a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
And it's like, we're
The
still doing
the
this?
cleanup is ongoing.
Ongoing.
And I know, like, like it's a privilege in a way to grow up in a rural area that gets a lot of snow regularly, that like prepares itself. And I also grew up in the center of town. I literally grew up on Main Street. So like, Main Street was always plowed. Like, so I recognize like that privilege. Like, and I always knew, I remembered from like my winters in the Bronx growing up as a kid that the city gets messy when it snows, and the snow's been around for a little while. But even in the winters of the late 70s and early 80s, I cannot recall a time where the snow just, they didn't really do much with it. Like, yeah, there's going to be piles that last for until spring, but they really not on the sidewalk.
Oh, so this is weird for
Yeah,
you.
this is weird. This is like to me, this is weird.
It seems weird to me because I'm like, okay, like I said, I don't know what's normal or what's not normal because it hasn't really snowed really hard since I've been here. This is the first real snow that I've been through, and I'm just like, why can't we walk? Why is there snow everywhere? Why are they? Because I think the thing is that what spoiled me really was Wisconsin because it
Yes.
snows there all the time, and they just like everything's plowed, everything's taken care of. Well, I know I should say this in the Democrat areas everything's snowed and taken care of because they like fund it. And then when you go to like the red areas, he's like, you see, they don't care. They don't. There's like essentially you could like spin off the road and die.
Oh,
So it's like
wow.
very. So I kind of viewed it as like, oh, if you care about your community and you are community minded, you make sure that things get plowed and they're salted and you're prepared. So I think when I came here, but I want to say something else. I want to shout out Mickey Sherrill, or sorry, Mike. Yeah, let's do that. Mikey Sherrill for closing stuff down on Monday immediately. Like on the Friday, she said on Monday, so new governor Mikey Sherrill closed down stuff on Monday because at least people were able to prepare and like make
Yes.
plans because this, 6 o'clock in the morning. Okay, now we're gonna call it. Like, I mean, to me, right there, that was like very, I want to call it, that was like very feminist planning. I don't know, she probably doesn't want me to like call her that, but that was very feminist planning. She like took into account that there are people who are primary caregivers that need to have like an upfront advance notice. And I'll
Yes.
tell you this way, if we had a situation where every governor ran like essentially ran the state like a feminist, we probably could have been able to clean the roads because we would have been like, okay, you know what? On Monday, we're all staying home and we're going to clean the roads. I think then that could have happened, but because we have some people who are like, we need to be on. I'd be honest, I was one of those people. We were on the road on Monday, as you know.
Yeah.
I was
No,
on
you were
the
on the road
road
on
on
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah, I was. Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a state emergency on Sunday, and we were on the road, and we shouldn't have been there. And you told me that you're not supposed to be on the road. State emergency in New Jersey means not on the road for real. And I'm still like in shock. Like I had no idea. Because also too, as my husband has been here since 2010, I thought he would have known that you're not supposed to do that. And I was like, so you risked my life for a train show.
The other state of emergencies I think we've had since 2010 haven't really been as like they've really waited a long time. I will even say that like as a person that grew up here and knows that they generally wait until it's done or close to done to start properly, like they use on the highways they brine the night before. So they put down like a salt brine so that helps the snow to melt. And then they wait until it's done falling before they plow the roads and then rock salt them. So but even as a person that grew up here, it just seemed like even on the day of the snowstorm, the day after the snowstorm, it was taking a really long time to get anything done. And I feel like you're probably right. I think it's a systemic failure. I think it's a lack of institutional knowledge. And I think that our Department of Public Works across the board are probably very short-staffed and don't have enough people to run snowplows.
Yeah, I think that's one thing really important. I think a lot of times we want to like, blame a person or blame a department or blame an administration. Of course, we always can blame the orange thing, but in this case, I don't really want to blame anybody in New Jersey or any like the county offices or whatever because I think this is like, oh, climate crisis. Like, look, it is real.
Yeah. And I
And
think this is an across the board sort of thing. I don't think there's any one person to blame. And I think that this shows that our hyper segregated state and how we have so many tiny little townships is really a detriment.
exactly, and I hope that Mikey. She's been talking about like kind of like combining school districts, so I can tell she sees the problem.
Maybe she's listening to auto asphyxiation.
I think she is. I think she is. I have confidence that she's listening. And with that, because we have gone on a while, we will wrap up. Is there anything else that you would like to say, Kimberly?
I would like all of the snow to melt, and I'm very much looking forward to our 32-degree heat wave tomorrow.
I know. I was like, when you told me that, I was like, is that good or bad?
It's gonna feel real, it's gonna feel surprisingly warm after this last week.
Yeah, it's been like 13 degrees.
Yeah.
Just so you folks, all my friends on the West Coast know, it's been really cold. I've had to wear like lots of clothes. Which I'm not into. Anyway, with that, we will bid you adieu and you have a great rest of your week.
Thank you so much for listening.